Hey guys, this is Cody Jones with Jangus Genetics LLC. We're continuing on with our book series today. This is a book that I actually, there's a YouTube video with the guy that is gold, and I've heard about the man who wrote it long before I could ever find a book. And there was one on Amazon. It was like $3,000. I don't know. It was something just ridiculous. But the book went out of print, and I was so happy it finally came back into print. I bought this copy through Powerflex Fence, and it's just absolute gold. When I read this book, it was just like sitting down with my grandpa and asking him questions, and it just felt like I was sitting down at the table with grandpa. I mean, it really did. It was gold. I actually gave my copy away, and I went and bought another one. Some of the things in here are super important. Just talking about one of the big things I got from it was loading and unloading cattle. The author of this was a veterinarian, and he ran a large stocker grazer operation down in Mississippi, and so there's just a lot of good nuggets in here. And the book is Thoughts and Advice from an Old Cattleman by Gordon Hazard, DMV. He was a veterinarian, and he's pretty frank, pretty intelligent. He's got that old world wisdom that is just absolutely hard to find, and he's blunt and honest with it. It's just hard to find that anymore. We're in a politically correct world, and not that he ever says anything. I don't remember that was out of line here, but just, you know, there's a lot of value in somebody that says what they mean and mean what they say, and they're going to shoot it to you straight. They're not pulling any punches. Now, some of the things he does in here are things that, you know, maybe I'm not going to do. Some of the things I think are really great, and he does a good job of explaining why he does what he does. And if I was running cattle the way he did, I would be doing everything he was. I'd tell you that. One of the things that's becoming very popular and to talk about and becoming very, a negative connotation is vaccinations and antibiotics. And so when he was buying cattle and he was trying to put together packages, so he'd go to all the sale barns around and he'd buy the ugly stuff. And then he'd find other ugly stuff to match them. And so he was building these packages, growing them on grass, and selling them in pot loads. So he was actually gaining value from the grass, adding weight to those cattle, and also from packaging those cattle. And when you're buying cattle that have been, shipped from a long ways away, sometimes they've been weaned just straight off the cow and thrown on a truck, taken to the sale barn. Sometimes they've been shipped from farther away to get better prices. And so when you're buying cattle at the sale barn, there's a lot of risk in it, and there's a lot of stress that those cattle can go under. Sometimes they've been on a truck for 36 hours or something like that with no food, water, place to lay down. And so you can imagine the stress and the shipping and the illness that they get exposed to at the sale barns. And so if I was doing all that, I would vaccinate the snot out of them, and I'd hit them with antibiotics when they needed it, and I would, I'd carry a dart gun and check on them every day. It's just what you have to do to keep them alive and be responsible for those animals in a system that may not be in just a system that's really hard on them. I can't say that it's right or wrong. It's just what we got, and if you're running them that way, you got to take care of them. I will say that. So he was a veterinarian, so he got to see a lot of that, and he talks about some of the medications, the vaccines and stuff he's using. And again, if you're running them in the way that he was running them, those are tools I think that you would have to have for the life of the animal, the health and the longevity of the animal. I think that is what it is, right or wrong. There we go. So let's see. He talks about some of the history of his operation and his background, and he basically said that he can't afford to work to buy land and cattle without working an off-farm job, which is what it is. That's how he thought, and I think he made a lot of money at it. And I think some people would argue that he probably could have stepped back and from the off-farm job a little bit faster, but I'm sure he enjoyed what he did. And being a veterinarian like that, it's cool. One thing I will say about being a full-time farmer is I see people, normally I see people on Wednesday nights at the children's church that I help with, and then I see people at church on Sunday, and then if I got to run to the store or something, I'll say hi to the checkout people. So other than that, I get to see my wife and my 2 kids for the most part, but that can be challenging for somebody who likes to talk. If you don't have a bunch of people around you, that can be important. So yeah, his son is a banker. He was a banker and then a stocker grazer. So I would check out his YouTube video if you're thinking about buying this book you're not sure about it, I think it's like 30 bucks or something. It's not a real cheap book. It's not a real big book, but it's just gold. But check out his YouTube video. It's really good too. And his son has a lot of great advice. I think in this book, one of the really cool things he said, you know, you could run this whole farm with a Dodge Dakota pickup truck and a hammer. He said those are the only two tools you need. And I thought that was really cool. He was down in Mississippi. I'd sure like to have my tractor, my four-wheel drive tractor up here. This farm's 18 miles from home, so everybody's got to have their own conveniences. In an emergency, I could jump in that tractor, run over here, but that Dodge Dakota would probably, if I had one, it'd probably get me there too. So I think, I can't remember, I always go back to the saying, buy things that eat green grass, don't buy anything that rust, rots, and depreciates. You know, buy something that's going to eat green grass and appreciate in value. And I don't remember if it comes from him or Alan Nation, but his finance advice in here is probably some of the best that you could get. Then he talks about, you know, getting them in, selecting the cattle. He talks about packaging the weird stuff and all those kinds of things and how he did it. He talks about getting them, you know, conditioned, like I said, keep them from getting sick. Then he talks about grazing them, pasture management, parasites. Then he talks about marketing, selling on contracts. One of the things I think is really cool is his handling equipment. On 1,400 head of stocker feeders, it was pretty minimal, and the loading facilities and everything, it's something I'm going to really study when I go to spend some money on a good loading facility too. So that's actually why I bought the book again, so I could study his loading facility. Like I said, his son's a banker, so the banker's view of cattle loans, chapter 11, is pretty good. Anytime you can put your head in the mind of the people that you need to get money from so that you can run your business another year is good. The environment, notes from consultants, poisonous materials. He also talks about cow-calf operations. Like I said, that's not what he was doing, but he was a vet. He had a lot of experience with that. So anyway, those are, it's all gold. I mean, it really is good stuff. And I just love this picture on the back too. He had a lead steer, and that's a big Holstein steer. And so that's another thing that I've implemented. I've heard my grandpa say that, but it really didn't. A lot of the things that my dad and grandpa say don't sink in until I hear it from somebody else. I don't know why it is, but you know how it goes. But and it's something they forgot too. Is, you know, their dad and grandpa always used to run an older animal in with like an old crippled cow in with their weaned heifers, or you know, something like that. Any time that I'm running young stock yearlings, weaned calves, I want to have an older, experienced animal in there with them. And that does a lot of things. It keeps them calm. It shows them the ropes. You know, that older animal, it's gonna know your system. I really notice it when I bring my cows over to this farm. I brought them over in the spring. It's the first time I've had my cattle over here. And every time I bring in a new set, I have to retrain everything. It's really frustrating. You know, and my cows, they do a pretty good job of following me. But like the first time I took those 70 custom grazing heifers over here that were yearlings, I really wanted an older cow to go with them. We didn't end up getting one or needing one, but I had carried a feed bag, you know, so you can cheat. But I think they would have calmed down a lot quicker if they'd had an older lead steer or something like this. I don't want to feed one. I don't everything I've got that's older like that. You know, he's a mature grass-fed steer. I could be making money with him. You know, so it's just an extra cost. But I see the value in it. And like I said, having an older cow that, you know, for some reason she fell out of your program, you kick her out with those heifers. They show them where the gates are. They show them where the water's at. They show them what to eat. They show them, you know, they calm them down when they get excited and nervous about silly things. There's just a lot of value in it. So there's a lot of gold in this book. I recommend you check it out. If you guys have any questions, you know, about it or what we've talked about today, let me know in the comments. I'll get back to you. Like, subscribe, follow for more. And if you like this, you know, the book reviews, let me know. I'll make some more. So thanks, guys.